Hi everyone, here it is, end of September, almost October, and spring has definitely sprung. I hope that this recording finds you all fit, fabulous, and most fortunate in all your dealings. And since I'm on the F words here, it's the topic for today that I really want to deal with, especially in line with this spring cleaning or the idea of spring. Where I'm at the moment, I'm surrounded by hundreds of spectacular butterflies. And these butterflies remind me of our lives, the fact that we only have moments at a time. And we choose what we fill these moments up with. And if you're like me, you get caught up in what I call daily life, or daily drudgery for some of us, which can be whatever grabs our attention in the moment. And what grabs our attention can then cause us to feel angry, annoyed, upset, frustrated. And these are more moments of our lives that are taken up with more of what we don't want instead of what we do. So in order to create more moments, which that's what our lives are, just one moment after another moment after another moment, that is filled with more joy, fulfillment, and all the things that make us feel good, we've got to make room for it. So it's a bit like this time of year, it inspires us to spring clean, and we get out there and we empty out our closets and get rid of all last year's clothes, or for some of us, the clothes from the last 10 years that we've hung on to, thinking, oh, one day I'll get back into that, till we finally relinquish that we're not going to be that, for some in America, size 0, or here in Australia, size 8. And we throw out what no longer serves us at this point in time in our life, at this place in our journey. So what I wish to do now is to get you focused on spring cleaning energetically, which is far more important than anything you do physically, because everything will always begin as a thought and an intention before an actual action. So in order to make way for what we want in our life, we've got to let go of what's already taking up the space. And it's easy to tell what's taking up the space by how we feel. Do you wake up every day feeling excited and elated and fabulous and can't wait to get the day underway? I've got to tell you honestly, that's not how I wake up every day. Yes, there are days that I certainly wake up that way, but not the majority. The majority is I wake up and I'm sort of in a blank mode. And from there, when I have my shower, my first thought as I'm showering, I've learned a process where anything that I'm carrying, I let the water rinse away, so that way I can start my day as a clean slate. Now, this is a practice for me. Now, some of you may be aware of my background previously, and, like most of us, I've got a few stories to tell. And some of those stories leave a bit of residue that is a bit of gunk that still impacts on my life today. I'd love to sit here and say all is fabulous and all is wonderful. For me, it is a continual work in progress. However, my life today is far removed to what it was 10 years ago, and the results that I realistically do have are fantastic. However, I'm the ultimate seeker of absolute excellence in all areas, and that is to lighten up continually so that I can wake up every day with that grin from ear to ear. And what excites me most is when I'm around people and I hear other people's stories. And I love being in that position to share from my background and my history and other people's that I know of what can work for them. So that's what I'm going to share today, this spring cleaning or energetic spring cleaning to make way for our greater good. And some of us can be carrying some of this gunk or stuff that we're consciously not aware of, yet it is impacting our results that we're getting in our lives. And that's when we discover that there is, we can't quite put our finger on it. We go, look, I know this stuff. The challenge is to know and not to do is to not yet know. So what I'm looking at here is the area that some of us will have some gunk attached, because most of us have dealt with people in all stages of our life, and not all of those experiences have been a glowing or fabulous experience. So right now, I want you to think of an experience that has left a bitter taste in your mouth, that has left you angry and annoyed, that has left you frustrated, or even worse, that you want to get revenge. So I'm talking about the people in our lives that we've had an involvement with that for us we haven't let go of yet. it still has an energetic result in our bodies physically, mentally, and emotionally. And whilst that's there taking up moments, filling those moments with what I'll call gunk, because that's exactly what it is, it denies us moments of joy and happiness and laughter and lightness. Every moment we deny ourselves that good stuff, we're not attracting more good stuff. So that's what the importance of this is, to identify these areas where we're still caught up in the past. Now you might say, yeah, but this person did this to me. You know, they could have ripped you off $1 million. You know, I specialised in sexual assaults in the police force, so I can think of people that would, you know, certainly under no circumstances could they ever dream of forgiving a perpetrator. Or one gentleman that I know of came home to find his 3 daughters murdered in his living room. Now, these are some extreme circumstances that I'm citing, and you may have extreme circumstances yourself. However, the reality is that the event has passed. No one can change and undo that event. However, what you do have conscious control of, and what you do give energy and emotion and weight and value to, is all your thoughts and your perception after the events. And if your perception is still one that's leaving you not feeling good, it's time to take action, because it's your life that is being caught up in this. It's your life that is being squandered. And for what? Because you deserve far, far better than what anyone else has ever done to you at any point in time. And you are far more powerful than to hang your life up on any one particular event, irrespective of what the event is. And if you can't find ways to wrap your head around, or to think of how can I possibly start to lighten up in this area, get in touch with me. Or trust me, I have so many strategies in this area. But the very first one we're going to deal with is forgiveness. And the most important person we need to forgive is wherever we have the thoughts that don't make us feel good. And sometimes we want to hang on to not forgiving them, because we think if we forgive them, it means accepting or condoning what's gone on. No, it does not. What it means is that event has passed. It means I no longer am going to hang on to it and waste any more of my time, effort and energy and precious resources on that event. Now, for me, I can think of a gentleman that I had tremendous difficulty, when I first learnt the value of forgiveness. And I thought, there is no way, my passion towards this person was bordering on pure hatred. You know, I had a depth there that I was savouring almost that hatred. And, I thought, how on earth could I possibly imagine forgiving this person, let alone loving this person, the next step? That for me was beyond a stretch that my mind could incorporate. Now, for yourselves, you might just have a person that just, annoys you or frustrates you, or, it may not go to that depth, or it may. I don't know your individual circumstances. However, the exercise in order to release the energetic hold on you is still the same, and it is a very simple technique. What you need to do is take some time out for yourself where you won't be interrupted by phone calls, other people. Give yourself a good 20 minutes. And then in that time, what I want you to do is, it's more or less going into a relaxed meditative state. It's just laying relaxed, comfortable and reflective mode. From that reflective mode, I want you to envision a place that you absolutely love being at, a place that is your space, be it a paradise, a wonderful island, tropical beach, be it in the midst of a rainforest, whatever is special and unique to you, on top of a mountaintop, lots of fresh snow around, no one else, complete solitude and peace and serenity, or some beautiful animals in the background, or beautiful nature and flowers. Create the vision that you go, and just let go when you are in that environment which you're seeing in your mind's eye. Now, whilst relaxed and seeing in your mind's eye that vision, I want you to think of someone that you've had a recent challenge with. Start small, don't aim for the biggie first. Start with someone that, has just ticked you off or annoyed you, or, it could be the driver that cut you off that, you allowed to run in your head 5 minutes longer than it should have, or the co-worker, that has taken over your work as their own and taken the credit and accolades for it, or, it could be the partner that hasn't acknowledged, your actions of generosity or sweetness, or whatever it is you've allowed to mull over and stew in your mind. You'll know what I mean. I want you to think of this person, and I want you to imagine that you're in this comfortable space of your own creation, and now you're going to invite this person into that space. Someone that you have what I'd call unfinished business with. And when you invite them in, I want you to then run through a mental conversation in your head with them of your hurts, of your grievances, of your upsets. And then imagine their responses. Now, if you're going to run this as a heated response and keep it going that way, you're going to be adding fuel to how you already feel. So as you hear their response, hear it as if they actually hear what you're saying, because most people act by reacting instead of actually listening. So this is your space, your playground. You can have them respond any way you choose. You can have them respond with love, kindness, open-heartedness and generosity, the likes that you've never seen from this individual before. There's no limit here to play. Now, if you're like me, when I mentioned when I first had to do this exercise, well, I didn't first have to, I first chose to, let me correct that. I thought, how could I envision inviting this person that I found grotesque into my sacred space? And how could I envision being loving towards them after I'd had this conversation, by being able to wrap my arms around them and actually hug them, give them an expression of love? Every part of my being was repulsed at this thought. So the second strategy, if at first we don't succeed with seeing them as the adult person that they are today, you can utilise this second strategy, which is plan B, which is where you envision the person, instead of as they are today, as their 2 or 3 year old self, and invite that 2 or 3 year old self into your sacred space. See them as that tiny child that is acting out, behaving in a frustrated, angry, selfish manner. Now, most of us, if a 2 or 3 year old happens to throw up on us or hit us on the head with, whatever they've got in their hands, or pull on our hair, or, bite through our cheek, we tend to just yelp, laugh, and let it go. We know that they don't currently know better, so we don't have a lot of attachment on what they actually do to us. So the same in your scenario that you're playing in your mind's eye. Energetically, this is a powerful, powerful process, and you will see the results. And I'd love to hear from you, your results, after you have put this into practice. Now again, just thinking about it and not doing it is not going to get you the results. I'm sharing this so that you have a tool to find more ways to feel good and to create a space. If you already have yourself filled up energetically with all this stuff that's happened in the past, there is no vacuum, there is no new space to attract in the stuff of what you want. And it's amazing how we've collected so much of this clutter over the many years that we've already existed on this planet. So now is the time to think of anybody and everybody that you have any unfinished business with. Draw them into this sacred space. You can have it, a long queue if you like, and just run them through one after the other. You'll probably find yourself starting to laugh and enjoy the process through it, which is great, because that just lets you know that energetically you really have let go of it. You might receive insights through playing this game of where the other person shares with you certain reasons. We know they're buts. However, people buy into them and give them power. They might share these reasons as to why they acted in a certain way or behaved in a certain way, that then gives you, again, more compassion and more understanding, and lets your heart remain large in this process. Because this is about us. It's not about the other person. This is about us making space for our greater good. And we cannot and will not attract our greater good when that space is taken up with stuff that we do not want in our lives. So if ever there is a time It is no time like the present, like right now, it's not reopening old wounds. It is time to actually, if those wounds are festering and gunky and sore, it's time to expose them to some fresh air, get the cleaning solution onto them, and get rid of the bacteria, the gunk. And this is what we have energetically. So with spring in mind and with your greater good that's going to come to you in all other areas, these are the beginning areas where we limit ourselves. However, we limit ourselves unknowingly. Take the steps in these areas and I guarantee you will start to watch amazing miracles that occur in your life day after day after day. If you are driving down the road and you have an incident with someone, there is no time other than the present to move into this space of how do I forgive? You know, that's the first step, is asking yourself how, because for each of us it's going to be different. Some people we're going to find much easier to do this with, and other people it's going to be like, no, bugger it, I still don't like them. I still am, repulsed by them. It just means we have a lot of charge on that area, and it means we've got a lot of issues linked in, not just the one issue. So we can run when we have that feeling that this person creates in us. We can think, when did I have this feeling previously? Can I remember an earlier similar incident? Similar, I mean similar feeling that you experienced, not necessarily similar event. When did I last feel almost the same way as I do now? What's the earliest memory? And then as we run it further back, we can find that earliest recording. And then when we run that through and go through the forgiveness technique in our mind, it explodes the charge off that, and amazingly, it explodes the charge just like a chain-linked bracelet. It breaks all the other links. So they are no longer connected, no longer so explosive and so detrimental in our lives. So now is the time to give no more moments away. Like those butterflies that are flying around, they may only have 1 or 2 days, and that's their moments of glory. And again, I think of our lives, they're momentary in the scheme of the bigger picture. So do not waste any more moments on anything that takes away from your joy, your fulfillment, and your greater good. So I look forward to hearing from you. And if you've got any other information that you would like to share, please let me know. And in the meantime, I'm going to get out there and enjoy this beautiful springtime weather. And wherever you are in the globe, I certainly hope that you find more ways to feel good and less ways to feel bad.